are recording. Hey everyone, welcome back. Shannon and Meo here. Who else would it be, right, besides us? We wanted to revisit this topic of different ways that you can work with your own intuition, different fun ways of doing that. So before we talked about getting your hands on some oracle cards or tarot cards and starting to work with those in the different way you can use them to start building your intuitive muscles and practicing. And another way that Meo especially has been experimenting with, and we've done it a bit together and it's so much fun, but she has been specifically using a random image generator to work with her intuition. So using an image to stimulate her intuitive senses based on a specific question that, or an intention that she has set about insight that she wanted to receive. So it's really fun. We wanted to take you through a few examples and then describe this process. But I will tell you, the last time you and I did this together, it was so much fun. And it was really like, it was blowing our fucking minds.
Yeah,
Oh, what we were
wild.
like, yeah, the questions we were asking and then like the images that we were getting one after another and how it was just creating this story.
Relevant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very like it was validating in some cases, and some of the stuff that we were asking about was very predictive in nature. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But I think we'll do in this episode, we're going to do a little bit of both. Like we'll ask some questions that are events that are coming up, and then we'll eventually be able to see how that works out. And then also maybe some stuff that's a little bit more real time that we can validate right now in person as we're doing this work. But this is just one way of many that you could work with your intuition. So Meo is using the generatormix.com random image generator. It looks like
randomwordgenerator.com.
yeah, and you like to use the words and the images, and I totally understand why. And I think you get words with the images too, so you have that dynamic going on as well.
It's so just to explain the idea a little bit further. So just like the pulling oracle cards, how you would like sit and ask a question and then you pull a card. It's the same idea and it's the same concept, except for I'm just using websites like these word generators and image generators, random number generators to, picking numbers 1 through 12 to represent different months. And so I can zero in on something like that. So it's just like, it's nothing too weird, and you can do it from your phone by pulling up these websites. It's like, it's not a big, huge thing, and people won't look at you all crazy. They won't even know what you're doing, right?
They'll think you're like sifting through your social media.
And what's really fun, like you can do it by yourself and ask your higher self questions, like, messages from your higher self. And we could do this later too with like different topics. But I just want to go through like real quick how I use it step by step, and then we can do like some exercises and examples just to see, and then we can share the images. Like we can describe them and then we'll share them. Either we'll post this on YouTube or post it on our social media, so you can see the actual screenshots of the images that we're pulling. So again, the website I use, random word generator, and then generatormix.com. Okay, so first, just step one, you set your intention or you ask a question. Like I said, you can start with something like, what is a message from my higher self right now? And then you literally hit the button.
Yeah, which would be like shuffling your deck of cards, but the computer is actually shuffling the images for you and pulling it up.
It's pulling these images from stock photo websites, so they are very random, and I've seen all kinds of images. But what's crazy is what the images that I see pertaining to the person I'm reading, or even if it's for myself, all like they have to do with that intention or that question. And then if sometimes, even if it's not that direct image, because it's a free website, there's all kinds of advertising around the sides of it. I swear that even some of those will like have to do with that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, even when we were playing around with this, we were getting all kinds of like really congruent interwoven messages from just the ads and how they were related to the picture, the random image that had come up. So it was, I mean, you guys, it was literally blowing my mind well, not literally, it was figuratively blowing my mind when we were doing it. We were just totally in awe of how it was working. So,
because it's like, let's see if this will work. Okay. And then if it doesn't work, no big deal, right? But then it worked, and then it was like, oh shit, that was kind of cool. So anyways, write down your answers. I did an exercise where like I wrote down all these different topics or unsolved mysteries, unsolved murders, conspiracy theories, like whatever you want, however far you want to take it, or if you just want to do it for yourself, like what's up with my love life, my career, general energy behind this, you know, whatever we got going on this year. And then just journal your stuff. And then part of the exercise though is seeing the image and then literally just like, okay, what does this remind me of? And when I see this thing, how would I describe it? Because the brain takes information. So the brain takes information and we categorize and we label and we are filtering through. And so when we see an image, we're processing, translating would be a better word. We're translating the image into a symbolism of something, versus if we just generate a random word, that can be very like not as open for interpretation.
right.
If it's just a word versus if it's an image, there's so much in an image, from color to texture to the lines and what's actually happening in the image. And then those can trickle down and lead to words to describe, if that makes sense. So
yeah, there's more dimension. Like there's more dimension and possibility, I guess, in the picture.
Yes. Because if like, for example, like when we were pulling them and it's like something, it has to do with the sunset. Like how do you can't describe that picture with just one word,
right.
Or like, you know what I mean? The other way that I like to use these websites, and even the remote viewing app, they have like contests and stuff like that, where you can set your intention, or you just kind of close your eyes and figure out what will come subtly into your awareness, and pay attention to like colors you might see, textures, shapes. And it may or may not work the first time, but I'm telling you, once it starts catching on and you start getting somewhat like accuracy, for example, like before I pulled an image, I was seeing what looked like a corn on the cob, but all I saw were like a rough sketch of it in my brain. And so I could see the shape of a corn, and then I could see all of the like little squares, right? But then I hit the generate button, and the image that popped up was like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The Leaning Tower of Pisa. So when you look at it compared to like the image of the corn I was seeing up close, it was like, okay, I could see the general shape.
Yeah.
And then it was like the windows and the arches. It wasn't a literal piece of corn, but it was like my brain was picking up on repetitive patterns, and
the shape and the texture.
The shape and the texture. So I was like, okay, I wasn't disheartened, because I'm like, okay, that's kind of like, it's not close, but like the shape was there. And so you can do this every time. They have like ESP apps for this too, so you can like focus on whatever and then press the button and then see what the image that pops up.
So you're essentially trying to anticipate what image is going to come up by using your intuition or extrasensory perception to sense what that is before it's revealed to you. And so that's what, like, for people who I was just going to define what remote viewing is for people who aren't familiar with that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So remote viewing, like I don't have a technical definition, but just how I understand it is you use your intuition, you slow down, you go inward, and you use your intuition to project yourself or your awareness to any particular location or time period or event or whatever, and you try to view it from that standpoint and describe it and sense what's there. And would you agree with that definition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and so for some of these remote viewing too, they'll give them assigned like numbers that remind me of almost like an intersection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so with these like random numbers, that's what you're tuning into. That's what you're setting your intention to say, okay, what is the image associated with these random numbers? Because you're assigning it something. And I think like the science behind how all of this works with tarot, oracle, or this exercise, because it's all the same shit.
Mm-hmm. It is. You're so eloquent. I love how eloquent you are.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I enjoy you.
So but it is because you ask a question, you pull for an answer. You're setting an expectation, and you're there's an intention behind the pulling of the card or image of my air quotes of randomness. It's like the randonautica thing. Like as long as your intention is there, and then you have an element of randomness, the cards, the images, the GPS app,
Yep.
like those are generating random things that are like little anomalies or something like that, and however the energy works to attract itself to that intention or to that question, but it fucking works.
Well, it's a quantum linkage, a quantum entanglement, right? So there isn't something random. It's like if you really want to get into the specifics of it, people could argue that, but like it's quantumly entangled, and so it's like following a quantum thread of connection. But yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So those are my two ways of using it. And then you can do it. I have been able to successfully tune into somebody's like deceased loved ones and pulled the images for that, and actually like generated a photo of a young man with a mustache, and the girl that I was reading was like, that's what my dad looked like when he was younger.
Oh my God.
And that was like the first time I had ever pulled like a picture of a human, like of a person. Doing this technique. And then so I think there's something to it, and it's super fun.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's just a great way to get your brain to work differently, and to not actually think so much about things, but more so feel and look for how these things have a common thread, or they weave a story around your central question. So, and then the fun part is like there's no harm in doing this. You get to see how it aligns with your real situation, or like if you're trying to do something predictive, like that event's going to happen. So you're going to know if it worked out that way or not. So it's really it's like an experiment. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sciencey that way.
So we wanted to try it out, and then like I said, we can post the images of what we get, and it's just a fun, so we'll just go for it. I think we're going to start with we wrote down like a list of stuff, and so we're just going to see what happens and see how far down the list we'll get. And like we have no expectations except for like we just want to have fun with it, and
we'll probably swear too, which is fun too. So.
Yeah.
Okay, where should we start?
Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
So, okay, do you want to start with like messages from higher self kind of thing, or like messages from spirit of what we need to, like messages for the listeners?
Like, let's do, how about
energy?
How about we do like messages from our higher selves, because that we can validate that a little bit better, right?
Got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so let's formulate so we're going to set our intention. Do you want to go first for you, or do you want, it's totally up to you.
Yep, sure. I'll pull it. Yep. So messages from my higher self.
What is Meo?
And it is a photo of, this website, the generator mix, actually pulls a photo and then it puts three photos or three words underneath. And this is a picture of cafe, breakfast, and coffee. And it's like pastries and coffee. It's like, and I literally was just like writing on my drawings the other day, like all these different breakfast foods, because I was like, breakfast is my favorite.
You did. That's why I'm laughing, because you're like, breakfast is my favorite meal of the
Breakfast
day.
is my favorite.
Okay, so from this image then,
breakfast.
this is a message from your higher self. What does Meo need to know from her higher self? So,
and here's how I would read this. So, and this is what's interesting, because you'll see it and pull things, and then I'll see it, because what I see from an image of coffee and pastries is actually, I see it as a time of starting my day or sitting and actually reconnecting with friends and like having conversations and connection. That's what it actually reminds me of, because it's like food and coffee. But what else I said that was earlier on our other episode we recorded earlier, like, I just want to be back in Italy, running on the coast of Italy, and then going back to my continental breakfast. And like, because that's what I would do every day. I just said that like an hour ago we talked.
Yes, you totally did. And this is like, this image. Okay, are you done with your interpretation? Because then
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't want to interrupt you, but so this image is beautiful, right? It's like, it's just a beautiful, very simple breakfast setup, but it looks delicious. There's a basket full of bread, and there's these little dishes with different toppings that can go on the bread, and there's this beautiful like cappuccino and this hard-boiled egg that's waiting for you, and there's this newspaper that's sitting there too. So when I see this image, I look at something that's very deliberate and meant for enjoying, like meant for taking a slow a slow process through your morning ritual, your nourishment, your time. It's like starting your day with intention is actually what I heard when that image came up, was like, oh, she's starting her day with intention. So
and
it's like,
have been lately.
That's great validation, right? So it's this idea of like, how are we going to direct our day? How are we going to set the mood for our day? And it seems like this is, wow. And that cup of coffee looks fucking delicious. Do you see that? So it's like, wow, how good is a cup of coffee in the morning when you just have like that ritual of drinking? And if you're
That's
like,
my favorite thing,
right? You're like me that way. It's just like, I just want my cup of coffee and I want to sit in silence and breathe.
Uninterrupted,
right?
uninterrupted cup of coffee, please. And thank you.
Yes. So I feel like this is a message for you about starting each day with deliberate intention, and it's about that slowness so that you have that moment to think about it. And like, your favorite meal is breakfast, right? So it's like savoring. I mean, everything in that photo is like, ooh, it looks delicious and I want to savor that.
It reminds me of travel too.
Oh yeah, totally.
Just
because that doesn't look like anything.
One last thing, and then we can pull one. We'll pull yours. I noticed it's a very stylized photo too. So it's not a candid shot of something. It is highly stylized and on purpose. So created on purpose. So I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Deliberate. It's very deliberate. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, duh. That's the first word you said.
That's okay. So, we got it. Okay. So the next
message from Shannon's higher self.
Yeah. Ooh, what's this going to be? What do I need to know?
I feel like Price is Right. Nude model woman.
It's totally a naked woman.
I told you this shit was random.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. And you switched it.
I switched it because I didn't want to analyze the naked woman for like 5 minutes, and
but
be like, oh
my God. But it was so relevant for me. It was so relevant for me. And so
this one too, sorry.
This one, so the next image, you guys, we can talk about the naked woman, but the next image is this. It's actually an image of a sunset, but you can't really tell what that is unless you look at the words. It's like these it's like these smoky clouds, and it's
Yellow,
very
golden
yellow and
cloud.
orange. Yeah. And
Like golden hour.
yep, but it's just a shot of these clouds. So wow, that's fascinating to me. So what I get is sometimes you can't see something for what it is until you get through it, or until you give it time to dissipate. So like looking at this image, if you didn't have the words underneath it, you wouldn't really know what that was. It could be smoke from a fire, right? So to me, what I'm intuiting from this is like, oh, sometimes we're not allowed to see with our eyes. We have to feel our way through. And that's exactly what I'm going through right now. And that naked woman picture, so the
That's your bare soul.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
It's like
vulnerable.
that was me bearing everything and being like
That was her bearing it all too.
she had her like boobies out and everything. It's awesome. But it was like,
you can tell she hasn't had kids yet.
yes. So bearing your soul, being
Look at the
authentically
advertisement
you.
on the left. Is that like a moth?
Oh, she's wearing a blanket, like a shawl. It is a moth. Oh my God, that's wild. So
Holy shit.
transformation, metamorphosis,
And
right?
even look underneath it too. Even underneath it, the advertisements for transforming face molding.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Crazy. Okay. So we kind of interpreted that together, but what do you get from this sunset picture?
Um, Sunsets for me are always the end of something,
Oh, right.
because to me it is, or not even just the end, but it's just like transition, because it's
Mm-hmm.
transitioning out of day to night. It's also one of the prettiest times of the day, so I look at it from that perspective as well, that you are given a chance to finally look up and see the entirety of the whole sky without the
Oh,
sun
beautiful.
blinding you.
Mm-hmm.
I also see the colors being the oranges and the yellows remind me of Leo. It also reminds me of, is that solar plexus for yellow?
Yellow is solar plexus and orangey is like the sacral chakra. So
Orange.
that's like feeling,
Okay.
feeling and confidence.
So I pick up that kind of stuff from it. And then what's interesting is though, is if I were to be doing a full reading, I wouldn't just pull one image. I would be intuiting a lot of different things at once.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like, that's how you tell the story, is everything piecing together. But seeing like, just even going back to the image of the woman and all her vulnerability, she was
Mm-hmm.
in photography you would call it broad lit, and she's like lit from the front and she's fully exposed.
Mm-hmm.
All when you're broad lit, all your flaws are out in the open.
The full
It's like,
Monty.
dude, when you're open, we talk about shooting into the shadows. Well, this is like you're shooting into the highlights. Like
Yeah.
everything is highlighted. There's nothing
No hiding.
hidden. Yep.
Yep. I feel like that is incredibly relevant for my life right now, which is amazing. And so interesting how what I interpret or intuit from these images is it's not like so different from what you have intuited, but like definitely complementary information. Like you looked at it in from a different angle than I did. So that's really, really cool.
And then like I said, I also take a look at everything else around it too, whenever I'm seeking information about something. It's kind of like when you're driving and you're like, okay, if this, I need a sign. And then you see a bunch of shit happen at once and you're like, oh, okay.
Do you see that woman's shirt in the advertisement? It says, "It's fine. I'm
I
fine.
am
Everything's
fine.
fine."
Everything's, oh my God.
It's so wild.
Oops.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So we can pull words too, because
Yep.
I
So
accidentally just,
she just switched
okay.
to the random word
Yeah.
generator.
So I
So,
haven't, this is not the word, this is from earlier.
mhm. Are we doing
So if we
you?
want to, uh, Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess we can do that. Okay. So, um, we'll say, so this is randomwordgenerator.com and message from my higher self. Speaker.
Speaker. Let's do 3 of them.
I had a woman tell me like 20 something years ago that she was like total straight. She's like, she could see me speaking on stage, talking to people. And then
Well, you're podcasting, so
and podcasting. But even later on, like I ended up doing all kinds of like stuff on stage. That sounded weird.
um,
Stuff on stage.
what
Not
kind
that
of
kind.
stuff on stage? No, kidding.
Poetry. Prove
Proof. Hmm.
and brink.
Oh,
Speaker, prove, and brink.
oh, girl, this is about you like being at that edge of transformation that we talked about earlier. I totally like pulled a bunch of cards for Meo earlier today, and it was all about being at this precipice of transformation. She just has to create the space for dreaming that into reality. Um, and part of that reading was about knowing that she is totally 100% capable of stepping into the work that really is feeding her soul, like stepping into that. So that I feel like that's the prove to yourself, like that you can do this, and then being at the brink of transformation.
Dope. Yep.
Dope.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. And
Good.
then
I'm so glad we're mind melding
random
on
random number between 1 and 12 because I assign whatever those to the months. So significant month would be 12. So we'll see what happens in December.
Mm-hmm.
mark
Or
my
do you always do the month, or could that be like the 12th of a month?
When I assign it numbers 1 through 12, then yes, I'm asking for a month. If I
Gotcha.
want a date, I will ask for like maybe 1 through 31.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. That's a good thing to like sort out beforehand.
Yeah. And then that's what I'm saying is experiment though and have fun and see what works for you and what relates for you better. So some of the other questions that we wanted to, I'm sorry, I didn't pull your words. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hold on.
Are we screen capturing these images so people can see them?
I did for the images, not for the words.
Oh, that's cool. Because we say the words, so it's good.
Okay. Say the words. Okay. Messages from Shannon. Messages from Shannon's higher self. Clock.
Ooh. TikTok.
Time. TikTok. TikTok duck. Consensus.
Oh, interesting.
Do you realize that the advertisement appears also for directions?
Yes, I do. Have not missed that. Printer.
And printer. Consensus.
Clock, consensus, and printer.
I don't know how I feel about that, but the consensus and clock is like,
yeah.
Consensus, obviously.
Go ahead.
Majority, but then the clock being like, to me, I feel like, is it time up or just the timing? Yeah.
I have this sense of like, not the time is up, but it's like time is ticking. Here we go. Right. And then consensus speaks to me in terms of like, do I feel like I need consensus before I actually make any kind of choices to move forward? Or
that, yes.
And then with the direction hit, and so printer could be like an electronic printer, but it also could be like
documenting.
Yes, or putting things into print, right? And making it concrete. So that one's a little harder to intuit, but
however, the advertisement above it is create and launch a beautiful e-commerce website.
I know, I saw that.
We were even talking about earlier that we really, really need to get, because we want like some t-shirts and journals and stuff that we've been designing and working, and like
and the clock is ticking.
Fucking spirit. That is fucking spirit right there. That's like, bitch, the clock is ticking. You need to print this shit, and here's an advertisement for a website for e-commerce because you got to, and then get your blog up.
Yep. Oh, somebody just asked me about a blog today. So this is so interesting. You guys are like front and center to how Meo and I like get intuitive information about. We haven't done it this way before, but it usually comes in streaming like this. So about how we move forward with different projects that we have going on. So that was really cool. Okay, so how about we do what's next on our list, and maybe we can click through like 2 or 3 images to build a story.
We did a second half of 2020, or like fall winter 2020. We did we wrote down like upcoming events or anything else that could be predictive in nature to see like maybe we can see like what would happen within the next month, within the next 6 months.
Since this is a podcast that people would like listen to at any point, maybe let's try to do
right.
What's the energy of like the second half of 2020? Like what do we have to
already like
yeah how do we how do we want to like frame that question? So I feel like it's really important to be deliberate about how you frame the intention or the question.
Yeah, it definitely is, because if you're not specific enough in your questions, sometimes, unless you're asking for the energy report of something, if you're asking something specific, then you want to be specific to get, like, you don't want to ask too many different things that are like 3 questions in one.
It could be really, really complicated or too confusing. So maybe what we could ask is what
there was, I was going to say the rest of the list though were like divine feminine, divine masculine energy behind the pandemic, energy. We could do collective energy.
How about we try this? Since we spoke a bit about like the spiritual significance of the pandemic, why don't we see what the random image generator will say? Like, what is the spiritual significance of this pandemic?
Okay, so what is the spiritual significance
of the COVID? Yep, of the COVID pandemic.
Generate hand washing, soap and wash. I'm telling you.
Holy shit. You guys, it's an image of a woman above a huge white sink, and she's scrubbing her hands with soap and water. And it's the words are hand washing, soap, and wash. Okay, so spiritual significance. So remember our question was, what is the spiritual significance of this pandemic?
Next image. Oh, sorry. Mass virus health.
Are you fucking kidding me? You guys, this is for real. We are not fucking with you. This is like for real, an image of a woman with a mask popped up. Mask, virus, health. Our question, mind is blown right now. Holy shit. Okay. So, and the question was, what is the spiritual significance, right? So we see a woman washing her hands. So this is about cleansing. It's about purifying. It's about clearing the way. It's about getting rid of the stuff that clogs things up, clearing away the dirt, clearing away the stuff that makes us sick. And you can think of energy, like negative energy makes us sick. Okay, so the woman with the mask, how does she look? She's looking
boundaries, protection, like safety, precaution.
What about speaking your truth? Because her mouth is covered and she's looking.
Dude, and when you can't hear shit, you can't understand. Like you're so muffled, like trying to even speak through sometimes.
So she's looking at us very intently and her mouth is covered. So the only way she can really communicate effectively is going to be through her eyes. So what is
it's straight eye contact? Yeah.
So spiritual significance of this pandemic, mouth is covered. So, and we have to.
She's seeing.
She is seeing,
but her mouth is covered.
Yeah. So we are like mind melded right now. We're forced to look more clearly at what all of this is. This is fascinating.
You cannot look away at this image. You cannot look away at her eye contact.
Oh my God. Okay. Should we pull another? Ready? Let's do one more.
Yep. Okay. You say it this time. I'm not going to say it because I'm the one generating the image.
Okay. What is the spiritual significance of this COVID pandemic? Here we go. It took a minute to generate.
People, woman, listening to music.
Okay,
she's in her underwear though.
She's totally in her underwear, and
she's playing a game though. She's playing a game.
She is playing a game. It says listening to music, but she's totally playing a video game, and she's got these
totally playing a video game.
Headphones.
And I always say this shit's like a video game. I'm like, this shit's the Matrix. This shit's like a video game.
You do say that. Yeah. So she actually looks really engaged with whatever she's doing, and it's a black and white photo. So
to me, black and white is always like timeless because you can never truly tell what era or I mean, you can kind of obviously because there's some electronics, but like in general, monochromatic, black and white.
It's also
she's playing a game.
It's also interesting too because like there's that dichotomy.
She's distracted.
Ooh, distraction. Yep. This also, it's interesting that it's a woman. There were two images of, well, all three images were women.
All three were women.
Yes. And so there's this idea that, well, it's the rise of the divine feminine in this process too. So, and it's also this dichotomy of the black and white, like not everything is black and white. There's lots of shades of gray.
Yep.
So that's really interesting.
Some words.
And her ears are covered. So she's listening.
Not hearing.
Yes. Not hearing. The other woman was seeing, and the first woman was washing away. So
wash no evil, speak no evil.
And so I feel like this is about observing things as they are for what they are and not listening to certain things. And, you know, seeing them, washing away what doesn't work, washing away what makes us sick. Dude, right? This is wild. But she also could be like totally engaged with something that's trying to distract her, like you had said too. So, okay. Let's
like in her underwear is like, to me, it's like that hypersexual, like, you know, or that freedom or that I don't give a fuck or like, you know.
Like she's breaking out of the patriarchy.
Do you want me to pull words?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
This is fascinating. That was so wild.
Okay. Wait, we didn't ask. Do you want me to ask a question? I just pressed the button though. But okay, ask the question and then I'll press the button. Sorry.
What is the
I will write it down just in case, but
what is the spiritual significance? You're just getting all excited. What's the spiritual significance of this COVID pandemic? Random word generator. Here we go. Flour, as in like it is the
baking
second time
flour
today, as in baking flour, wheat flour, not a plant. So flour. Fax, as in a fax machine, FAX.
Oh.
There's a train horn going. Coincidence.
Okay, the first two, here's what I noticed about the first two words. Flour and fax are both
F.
Oh my God. Is it a homonym? No. What is it when it's said, pronounced the same, but spelled differently for different words? Is it homonym?
I have no idea. You're smarter than
flour
me.
And flour, fax and fax.
Oh, shit, like, I don't know. Someone's going to have to Google that shit for us.
No, fucking way. Like,
I know. We know what you're talking about, though. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then the third word, coincidence.
Okay, so I have a harder time with the random word generators.
Yeah, I like the images better.
The images work better. So I noticed at the top of that, though, like above that word coincidence, there was an advertisement for President Trump, right? Re-election. And then yes or no was right there, like plain as day, right above coincidence. So that was really interesting too. Is it a coincidence? Yes or no? Right?
Oh,
I know that was really strange, but I actually am struggling with the whole flour and fax. Like we had talked about flour before being an ingredient to make something. Like you can't have cake without flour typically.
Flour is also like the way that it's processed. The wheat from this, was it the wheat from the chaff?
Yeah, the chaff. Yep.
It's like the process of separating.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also The facts.
Fax is short for
Facts.
facsimile, which is like a replication.
But but also facts just remind me of like vintage communication, like
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
outdated
Who sends faxes
methods of
anymore?
communication. You'd be fucking surprised, man.
Okay. This one is harder to weave the story. So you guys are getting an idea of like how this can actually bend your brain a little bit. And Mio and I are probably actually doing a little bit too much thinking about what these words are versus like intuiting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the images just because like I don't know, it's a little easier.
It is
Okay.
easier. But that was really wild. Oh my gosh. Do we want like an end all be all, like one more image for what the spiritual significance is of this virus?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. She's clicking.
Bookstore,
church, bookshop.
It's a bunch of books in an old building.
It's an old church that's been turned into a bookstore. So
this reminds me of Akashic records. And
yes.
the idea of things already being written into the soul's journey.
Mm-hmm. Everything you have been, and everything you will be is already recorded in the records.
And in this image, it's very much different layers, and there's different depth happening. The light is coming in. There's people on different floors.
It's very bright.
There's artificial light because it's almost like the books are, it's been placed in that building. You can definitely tell that the building has been older and more established. Going back to the question of like how this would tie in or what this would like translate to when looking at it, I would see it as old versus new, because I see the old building and then I see the newer bookstore. Bookshop inside. But the interesting part is the older building, not just any building, it's a church, which is known for its documenting of everything
history
within its history and its storyline. And then the duplication being the second part of it being all the modern books and the modern writings and the juxtaposition between that.
That's an amazing intuit on that. And when I see this image, I think of this church as an old structure, and it has been cleared out, and it is now used for something new, right? And so we had just talked about in that last episode about spiritual significance of this is we have time to see now what structures that have been in place that are crumbling, that don't serve us anymore, and how we need to remake them so that they do. So that's fascinating to me. And that this image is showing a building that was once used for something else very different, now houses books that are associated with learning, with knowledge, with maybe history, right? Like you were talking about, right? So a place where we go to grow and expand. Yeah.
Love it.
I love it too. Right. That was so wild. Oh my God. Okay.
Do we want to hit on fall and winter? Upcoming fall and winter 2020 in America?
Let's do that. So what is how do we want to phrase that? What are we, I guess how you said it was just fine, huh? What is the upcoming energy of this fall and winter?
But right when we were like talking about that, the advertisement changed to this lady dry shaving her crepey skin. And the immediate feeling I got was just like if you've ever dry shaved your legs because you missed a fucking spot and you're just like, oh God, like it burned, like it hurts. I hope that wasn't the message.
God, we can definitely put more images just to be sure. But Do we want to, oh, you just hit click. So, oh, look at this. Another book, another bookstore, library, education. Holy
We're all going to be
shit.
learning
Yeah.
in hallways, and it's like a,
It's knowledge.
dude,
What do you see?
The sign at the top says law and crime and philosophy.
Oh my God, we're going to be learning a lot. We're going to be, it's knowledge. We're going to be made aware. You and I were talking about this. Something is going to happen.
In languages.
Yep. Something's going to happen.
Psychology.
You have a good eye, dude. You're awesome. So you guys, it's this image of like floor to ceiling books stacked, and you just walk down a narrow path and it looks like a hot mess, right? But it's like books upon books upon books, and you're walking down this narrow hallway full of books. So it's all like, when I look at this image, it's like heaps, mounds, thousands of books of knowledge, right? We're going to be coming into new learning. We're going to be coming into being made aware of things that we had no idea of. And the whole law and crime, philosophy, psychology, probably
languages.
Damn. Well, think about the idea of languages, right? So like, that's a barrier for a lot of us, right? If you don't speak a certain language, it's really hard to communicate. And perhaps this energy is about creating something that allows us to speak across languages. Education is pretty huge for that. Okay, let's pull another image. Holy crap, this is just blowing my mind.
I think the shit that we're gonna learn is like, yeah, that's gonna.
Yes, we've talked about that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, pull another image.
All right. Same. Business lady woman.
Oh, interesting. She's working from a computer and a cell phone out of a freaking coffee shop. Do you see that?
Yep.
So this is about recreating how certain systems work. Commerce, how we're doing business is, more mobile. So I wonder if we're going to see an uptick in economy.
For sure.
Yep, for how people actually
for sure,
do launching
more people realizing that they don't need to be present to work.
And look how happy she is. Like, she's young and vibrant and happy and confident, and there's like Christmas lights in the background, and it's like, it's this air of like, she's successful and driven. So I wonder if there's going to be this movement toward.
This advertisement that just popped up is also maternity. I wonder if there's going to be any type of, because to me that talks about working mom life balance.
Mm-hmm. And down below it says the Boss Palace. Do you see that? Oh,
I just saw that. It just went away.
Yep, it just went away.
Or just changed.
Oh, interesting. This is fascinating to me. Okay, so knowledge, and then I bet you like there's going to be a linkage with people just saying, fuck this shit. I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to create a business that is going to be like, what's the word I'm looking for? What won't be affected. That's super eloquent. It won't be affected by anything like this ever again, right? So I'll have access to my business. I won't be shut down for whatever reason. Like, I can make this work. Recession proof, recession proof business.
There we go. It's late for you, I know.
It is late for me. Do you want to pull one more image?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, the energy of fall, winter 2020. What?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God. You guys are going to play by play. Oh my God. Literally, it is an image of like spaceships going through space, and these
so 3 words are literally science fiction, ship, and space.
Yeah, planetoids and like star nebula.
Are those asteroids?
I don't know what they are.
What are those?
Small glowing things. Not stars,
planets.
But they look like glowing moons.
I wonder if they're gonna find more planets, more
Or
That's wild.
maybe they're gonna like come out with more information about,
Oh,
life in
it's
other
8:44 here.
places. Oh
Yeah.
boy, there's your number, 44.
All right.
Wow, that's fascinating. Or maybe like what we learn is going to be like something out of science fiction, right? So like maybe
Maybe like they're
information,
finally gonna catch up to the rest of us psychic ones about quantum energy and shit.
or just
Quantum.
like the whole, with COVID and like everything else that's going on, it
Yeah,
maybe it'll feel like we're in a science fiction
it
novel.
does.
Yeah. Look at you yawning. Oh my God. That was amazing. Okay, so you guys are
Okay.
you're getting the gist of how you can do this. So Mio is actually screenshotting and recording our results. And so then we'd be able to go back and
I do want to pull ones for divine feminine and
yeah,
stuff just to
totally,
like,
totally. I was just
yeah.
reiterating like our process. So you could do this in a predictive way, and just like you could do this in terms of like what's the energy that I'm stepping into for the next week, and you could use the random
Yep.
image generator, or what can I look forward to for the month of October, or anything like that. What can I do about love life? What can I look forward to about love life? So you can use this in a lot of fun ways, but we want to do the divine feminine energy and maybe the divine masculine. So let's try that. I'll let you pose that question though.
Okay, great. What is the current energy behind the divine feminine collective? Question mark.
Okay, generating.
Money. Dollar flying concepts. Divine
um,
feminine's about her money right now. Do you see this 44 right here?
yeah,
This $100 bill.
I do lots of $100 bills all over the place. And that's
Divine
interesting
feminine.
because they
It's
are,
it's back to that businesswoman and
I think it's about abundance and empowerment, right?
yeah.
Stepping into the boss palace is down at the bottom again.
Oh, there it is again.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
hold on.
Oh
Let me
my
try to screenshot it
gosh.
before it goes away. Okay, there.
That's
There.
really funny. So, this idea of flying too, like this could be rising, right? Floating, right? It could,
I'm here for all of that.
yeah, could be related to vibration. That money though, right? That speaks to like abundance and richness, and that could just be like in vibration and depth too, like the rise of the divine feminine. Oh, let's pull another image though. Okay, what do we got?
Shrine, Shinto Mount Taka. Hold on, I
So
have to look that up.
Shintoism is an Eastern religion, and a shrine is a temple. The divine, we just asked about the divine feminine,
Ooh,
right?
sacred temples.
Yes, it's bringing the divinity back to the feminine, which is like current controversy is like men making law, well, in the US anyways, men making laws about women's bodies. And
Oh, and look at this. It's a big
oh, Mount Takao.
it's big, like
What's a national park? Is it a volcano?
90 minutes to hike to the top of it. So I see the message of that being like the hike to the top, the rise, the ascension, the step by step that it's going to take to get there, to get to the top, to appreciate.
It also has thousands of cherry trees there. That's part of what it's known for. Did you notice that?
Ooh,
Yeah, so trees bearing fruit.
and it's beautiful.
And
Ooh, that's good.
yeah, that's amazing. So
What's a Shinto?
Shinto is an Eastern religion, and I'm trying to remember the aspects of it. I learned about it a long time ago. Maybe we can look that up really quickly. But this image is evoking for me a religion originating in Japan, indigenous religion.
Oh my
Of
God, there's
nature.
no absolute right and wrong, and nobody is perfect.
It's also centered on nature, right? So it's like integrating animism, the spirits of nature. Holy shit.
See that.
And women like,
goosebumps.
yes, this is.
Look at this. It's posted on my birthday.
Oh, well, here we go. More signs, right? The rise of the divine feminine, sacredness, coming back into harmony with the intuition of nature, which the feminine energy is all about receptivity and the moon cycles and being in harmony with the ebbs and flows of natural cycles, right? Like we cycle with the moon. So
totally.
yeah, sacredness. That's the cherry trees. I feel like the cherry trees are important in that too. Do you see all the dragons in that picture too? There's dragons everywhere in that picture.
What are dragons? Is that like
protector energy? They're mythical creature, right? It's about
cherry blossoms are symbolic flower of the spring, time of renewal and fleeting nature of life.
Wow. Also, you were eating cherries earlier.
I was eating cherries when we first started.
Oh, this is fascinating. Okay.
All
and
right.
he like, do you see the statue? He's got a beak for a face. Like it's a man.
I did notice that.
Yeah,
wings.
And he does have wings. So that's really, it's the integration of coming back to nature.
His fingers are really weird in this statue, but I'm not here to judge the art. Okay.
One more image for this.
This one?
Yeah, go for it.
Last image, energy behind the divine feminine.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait for my mind to be blown. This is a bulk ship, Iran port in a ship crane. So,
because you said I can't wait for my mind to get blown.
I fucked it up. No, I'm just kidding.
No, just kidding.
It is so that those kinds of ships.
Ooh, specialized in lifting heavy loads.
Of course, bearing heavy loads, right? And taking them across huge bodies of water. Those ships are designed for ocean travel. So,
as am I, yeah.
Maybe this is about the
dude.
Tell me.
Oh, nothing. Okay. No.
Maybe this is about the boundlessness of that energy.
I feel like there's something to do with the port too.
The Iran port.
Not even just that specifically, but just the fact that a port is the connection from one land to another.
It's also a safe place, right? I mean, like,
because think about it in terms of communication, messages, delivery of goods. It's literally going from one foreign land to the next, and it has to connect at the port.
And down below in the advertisement, it says transfer fee. So like you're talking about transferring information or transferring energy, or you going from one place to another. It's a transfer.
Delivering. Interesting.
I wonder if the divine feminine is going to be key in moving shit around.
She already is, man. Who else can get shit done?
I know, right? Should we do the divine masculine real quick?
Yeah. Let's do divine masculine.
What is how did we ask the question before? What is the energy behind the divine masculine?
Yes. I like that one.
Okay.
Berry nature red current.
So red currants are very tart. Those are ripe berries. They're coming into.
I was just going to ask if they are the fruit of they're the fruited part of the plant.
Yes. And they're very tart. And
it's called a currant berry. Currant.
Yeah, it's a currant. Those were red currants that the picture gooseberry? Was. So gooseberry is a type of currant.
Gooseberry?
It was a red currant that the picture was.
Oh.
Yeah, red currant. There you go.
I always thought these were like poisonous. I always thought these were poisonous when I was a kid.
Well, some berries do look like that and they are poisonous. So I'm glad you didn't eat any. But
But if
that's
we're
int
talking about the energy behind the divine masculine, I always thought they were fucking poisonous since I
well,
was a kid.
that's interesting, right? I mean, as soon as you said that, I thought that was a fascinating observation on your point or realization. But well, the color red is like very vibrant. Um, you know, it can be angry, it could be passionate, right? Um, it's very root chakra oriented and sacral chakra oriented. And those berries in that image were ripe. So they're or coming into their ripeness because half of them weren't ripe and
Coming
half
into,
were.
yeah.
So like the divine masculine is actually coming into its like healed state, I believe, and will be ready for the harvest, like the
It's
picking.
blossom. The divine masculine is blossoming.
Well, it's not. It's fruiting, right? We'd be able to
It's
pick that
fruiting.
and enjoy the fruits of it. So the blossoms would look very different. So they're coming into their
Beautiful.
ripeness. Oh, and it's nature,
Damn.
like nature again, right? So like coming into balance with nature. Okay, what's the next image? This is so fun.
Woman beach swimsuit.
Oh, and she's half naked. Look at that.
She's
So this is the divine. Oh, this is fascinating because the divine masculine is not about being like overly masculine, macho, you know, overdoing it. The divine masculine is very much about understanding and respecting and acting in divine complement to the feminine. So
right.
it's a
And look
much
how it's showing her the backside of her, and it's, you know what I mean? Like,
mhm. And she's very like her pose is very like I wouldn't call it sensual, but it's very like confident and
mhm.
he's like that if we were looking as the divine masculine, we'd be looking upon the divine feminine.
I
But
feel like I'm looking at her strength, not her
yes,
weakness.
I think this is a representation of the divine masculine as this beautiful female form that's the integration of the two energies, right?
Dude,
Like
because masculine, yeah, it's not a gender on the energy side. Like,
no.
absolutely
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
a softening, right? Should we do one more?
Yeah, one more.
Beach and swimsuit. Oh, too. So she's like half naked. This is vulnerability. And this is like bearing your soul and being open and being like spiritually, you know, bare. So that's beautiful. Oh,
Oh,
goodness.
photographic equipment, photo
Yep.
camera, and lens.
It's a camera. It's
Let
a,
me tell you
that's
about
a,
the setup.
that's a big camera. A lens. The divine masculine.
This
It's a big
the
lens.
divine the divine masculine lens, yes, it's big. It also means that they're far away.
Oh, because that's a
Divine,
hardcore telephoto lens.
yep. This is like they're far away and zooming in instead of
Mhm.
being up close and personal. Like when I shoot with, you know, a 50 millimeter versus a 70 to 200, the distance in my connection with the people I'm working with are very different. And the
Mhm.
interactions are very different. And this image is showing that lens on the camera, which tells me the perception to which they're viewing things is very, there's a certain distortion and a certain compression that they're like seeing things more tightly compressed than they really are in real life.
That's
Um,
interesting. And they're far
instead
away.
of, because the other lenses here would give a closer, like this one on the left, the 24 to 70, now we're getting all technical, would around 50 to 70 would give you more of the closer what the human eye would actually see,
Oh,
versus the lens that's on the camera is not how the human eye sees at all.
no. So there's
It's
distortion.
very distorted.
And
It's a
there's
different type of distortion.
and they're stepped way back, right? So they're like peeping.
Yeah.
They're peeping right
They
now.
they are Candidly observing.
Candidly observing. So I wonder if this is like a stepping back while the divine feminine rises, because for so long it's been a masculine dominated energy system.
It's been very patriarchal systems in place, energies and stuff like that. So I think that's very interesting viewpoint.
Yeah, super interesting. Oh gosh, that was fun.
I know. It's super fun. I love doing this.
Shall we?
Because it's like, yeah, we'll just pull one more and we'll just ask for like closing energies from, I don't know, how do you want to word
it? Anything that we need. Well, I don't know. Closing. What were you thinking? Closing energies for what?
I don't know. That's what closing energies for like our upcoming week.
For our upcoming week?
Yeah.
Okay. Or what do we like? What do the listeners of this podcast need to know right now?
Okay. Messages from their higher self.
Yep.
To the listeners.
Yep. Ooh, it's a picture of a church with sculptures and it says monument. So it's very old architecture and old European, well, it looks like Spanish looking, but I don't know for sure, but old architecture. Blue sky and definitely a church. There's a cross at the top of it. So what do you think? What do you intuit?
My gut feeling is like, yes, it's giving homage to the old, because remember we talked about the monuments, sculptures in the church being things of the old, systems of the old way. Seeing this sculpture in a historically vintage, you can tell the town looks either like French or something in Europe, right?
Yep, definitely.
So it's like homage to the old, but like I'm taking a photo of this with the new. The modernization of taking the photo versus what it's looking at are two very different things. And it's okay to see things and honor that part while still living in the modern day, while still like let's pull another image.
Yeah, I'm getting a spirituality vibe on this too, right? So like however you need to build your connection to your higher power, like you need like follow those threads that resonate with you. Because that cross on the top of the building is standing out to me, and that always symbolizes to me like a route to your higher power, whatever it is that resonates with you. And those lions are standing out to me too. They keep drawing my
lions. And also the tower shapes remind me of just like looking out, watching, protection, stuff that.
Yeah. Yep. Like something that would be near a sea and you know, like, or like turrets in a castle or something like that.
Yep.
So yeah. Let's pull another image.
Another image for our listeners.
Yep.
At home, books, and read and a cup of coffee.
Yes, and a cup of coffee, beautiful flowers, and all these books. This is about knowledge again, right? And then at your pace and what you find beautiful. So the flowers, like what you find beautiful, engage that.
And it's soft and it's like, I'm looking at the numbers too, in case this means anything to anybody, but the numbers that are showing up on the pages on the books were 80, 81, 195. I see a 21 and a 119.
And these are pink flowers. They look like peonies to me, but
I can never say that word. Peonies.
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 But they're beautiful pink flowers. And I get the feeling of this is something that's very
it just feels so like
comfortable, comforting, and delicate.
Back to that, like taking your time.
Yep.
Because I feel it with the books. Not necessarily like the flowers remind me of just like a softer. It just reminds me of soft And then seeing the books and the coffee just remind me of like slowly sipping and slowly reading and just absorbing and
Yep.
savoring your moments.
And it has that vibe of like something that you enjoy, right? So like not everything has to be for work. Like this looks very pleasurable to me, right? Sitting to
Yeah.
drink a cup of coffee and picking up like one of your 5 million books that you have started and you
Yeah.
keep reading it, right? So
Guilty. Yeah.
guilty. Oh
Way
my
call me
God.
out.
Stacks and
Way call me out, Shannon.
stacks. So that's a lovely
Okay.
image.
All right. Last one.
Here we go.
Images for our listeners. If you're listening now.
She's
Woo! Woman.
flying. It's a
She
woman
is.
floating with an umbrella. So this photograph is staged to make it look like she is like being carried away by the wind, and the background is all yellow, like yellow boards,
Which
a
is
yellow wall.
bright and sunshiny and joyful and like, yeah, it's just like so whimsical because she's like pulling a Mary Poppins and flying with her
She
umbrella.
totally is. And she's got a huge smile on her face. And this, like, it's very carefree to me. It feels very like have fun. I keep hearing this is about having fun too. So,
Because she's very serious in her dress, like her outfit. She's very
mhm.
monochromatic, and then she's against the vibrant yellow wall, and it's not even like a cement wall. It's like
It's a
a
board.
wooden wall.
Yeah.
It's been painted. It's rough. It's weathered, and she's still like having fun. And it's not raining, but she's like got her little umbrella, and she's fly away.
Okay, so I just got the thread for this story. So that church, feels very like a spiritual message to me. So like you're coming into yourself, and what is your spirituality, exploring that more, and then engaging those things that you enjoy, that feel good, that bring you pleasure. So a cup of coffee and delicate flower, that feeling of comfort and enjoyment and soothing and light. And then this girl clearly is having fun. She's floating. So allow
Yeah.
yourself to feel like she doesn't have a care in the world, is what I want to say. Like, let go of the
Have
worry,
fun.
have fun, explore yourself in this process.
She's also destroying, like, there's no limitations in this image.
Oh,
She's not
nothing.
limited to
Yeah.
gravity in this photo. She's not limited to things pulling her down.
Nope. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love
Well,
this for them,
there
for
you go,
everyone, for us too.
guys.
That's good.
That was
So
super fun.
totally, I really, really hope you loved today's episode. If you would like to see more of this kind of stuff, just let us know. In the reviews, we appreciate all of those, and like the DMs and the messages, and um, so just let us know what you like to see more of.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions about our process and how we do this, that was so much fun. Just let us know in the comments of our Instagram page or wherever you can find us, our Souls and Stardust Facebook page. I mean, like some people are still on Facebook, but yeah, let us know. We would
No, not Meo. No.
you would enjoy finding us. And I am Gratitude Maven on Instagram. Come find me there. And Meo is at Your Intuitive Friend on Instagram. So stop by, send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And we look forward